You've been involved in a car accident, and today is the date of your trial. And I have on the witness stand the person that you were involved in the accident with. And I'm about to question them on cross-examination. And I want you to listen carefully at how getting caught in a contradiction might be very bad for someone's case at trial. You remember being involved in a deposition a few months ago, isn't that right? At that deposition, you testified to a number of different things. Do you remember that? Okay. Now, you were in this courtroom for my client's testimony a short while ago. Do you remember that? And you remember that when my client was up on the stand, he testified about the day of the accident. And he testified about how he remembers that he was going a particular speed on the road right before he was involved in the accident that he was involved in with your motor vehicle. And you remember that he stated specifically that he was driving under the posted speed limit. Now, of course, you know that the posted speed limit on that road on that day was 30 miles an hour. And you also remember that my client testified that he was going approximately 20 miles an hour. Now, I want to ask you a couple of questions about what you remember about that day. Now, you remember testifying that you first saw my client's vehicle when he was approximately 20 to 30 feet from you. You remember that, right? Now, of course, you also remember testifying at that deposition that when you first saw my client's vehicle, you saw it about 2 to 3 seconds before the accident occurred. You remember that, correct? Now, finally, I want to point out that you testified on direct examination when your attorney was questioning you that you know for certain that my client's vehicle was going 40 miles an hour before the accident occurred. You remember that testimony, correct? Thank you. Now, those are some questions I asked him on cross-examination, and it might not make a whole lot of sense at this point why I asked him those particular questions in that particular order. Well, I want to fast forward a little bit to what I would then say on my closing argument in front of the jury to wrap this all up. And again, show you how getting caught in a contradiction might be very bad for someone's case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you once again for your attention over the course of the past couple of days of this trial. Now, I want to point your attention directly to a couple of things that the defendant, the person sitting right there, said in the witness stand when he was asked questions today. Now, when his lawyer asked him questions about what my client was doing on the day of the accident, he swore that the driver of the car, that my client was going 40 miles an hour, which of course would have been 10 miles over the posted speed limit. Yet, when he got up there on cross-examination, he also testified to the fact that he remembered that he first saw my client's car approximately 2 to 3 seconds before the accident occurred, and that he first saw my client's car approximately 20 to 30 feet away from his vehicle when he first saw him. Now, I don't want to do the math for you right here, but when you go back to that jury room to deliberate, you can figure it out yourselves, that if those two things are true, that if he first saw my client's vehicle 3 seconds before the accident, 20 to 30 feet away from his car, my client's vehicle could not have been going more than 20 miles an hour, which is 10 miles an hour below the posted speed limit. I'm sure you saw what I just did there, and this is, again, a very simplified example of how catching someone in prior deposition testimony could really come back to haunt them the day of trial. Now, lest you be tempted to go and check my math, I wouldn't quite do that, but you get the point. And the point is that a prepared lawyer before a deposition or before a trial can really be the difference between winning and losing a case. Now, you're watching this video because you may have experienced a motor vehicle accident of your own and you may have some questions that you want answered. So I want you to give me a call at the number that's appearing on your screen right now. My name is Jonathan Macri, and I'm an attorney at Parker Waichman, and we deal with car accident cases every day. And I have a lot of experience specifically with car accident cases, and I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. So once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.